Good morning, everyone. It is truly an honor to be here. We are gathering here at a challenging moment in history. As we speak, the world is witnessing two major ongoing conflict. And all this unfolds in the shadow of a genocide that killed nearly 100,000 people in Palestine in front of our eyes, live stream. This chaos is reshaping how we live, how we travel, and how we'll collaborate in the scientific conferences. Because when a forest is on fire, even the temple cannot be spared. In Bengali, we often say that বনে আগুন লাগলে মন্দিরও রক্ষা পায় না. Despite all of this, despite fear, disruption, and uncertainty in the world, I am glad you are here. I am excited that our international colleagues who traveled across borders despite risks of disruption in their travel to attend this meeting. And I strongly believe that you, our international colleagues, represent courage, commitment, and the true spirit of the global collaboration. Please give them a big applause. My dear friends, every challenging moment comes with opportunities. The current time, although difficult, it is also a blessing for many, many reasons. Those of you who are around my age, maybe with a gray hair or like no hair, will remember that we had a very different world of learning in our young age. We studied medicine with books, classroom, and teachers. That's it. There was no internet, no smartphone, no computers or tablets. Communication meant writing a letter and dropping it in a post box and waiting sometime a month for a reply. And today we send an email, and if there is no response in 5 minutes, we start to worry. I still remember that when I went to Japan for my PhD, I had to go to the British Council Library, which is just 2 blocks from here, to find the address of the Japanese professor and this book called World Book of Learning, and they allow me to use that book only for 15 minutes. That was the only search engine we had. But look at us now. This technological revolution that fuels global conflict has also created unprecedented opportunity for us to connect, to teach, and to learn across borders, across time zones, and across the inequities. Today I want to show you how we can use technology to resolve global inequity in pain education. And our story began during COVID-19 pandemic, which arguably one of the most difficult periods of our lifetime. As you can remember, at the time, clinic was closed, elective procedures were cancelled, and operating rooms are running at a very limited capacity. And because of all this, some highly trained clinicians, educators, people who are always busy, found themselves idle, not much thing to do. So me and my friends at the time came together and started working on a book on acute and chronic pain. In this book, we combined a concise, high-yield review of regional anesthesia and pain medicine into a single resource. As we worked, we realized what we were really building was not just content, but a structure, a curriculum. And that curriculum became the essential brick and cement of the global online pain fellowship. So this is a 1 year structured, entirely virtual fellowship. This fellowship is board aligned, and it has the curriculum based on American Board of Anesthesiology content outline. It is accessible worldwide, and there is no registration or course fees, and the optional completion certificate, which is issued by the Department of Anesthesiology at the University of Minnesota, and they charge a very modest administrative fee. And you can find all the details in the gopf.umn.edu. We teach the 64 core topics, which are all curated from ABA, American Board of Anesthesiology, content outline, which they want all fellowship trained physicians have to learn. We developed 12 structured modules, 6 for the regional anesthesia and 6 for chronic pain. There are monthly lectures, quiz, and discussions. At the end of the fellowship, the fellows who have more than 70% of the cumulative quiz score and attended more than 80% of the classes are considered as graduated from the program. Over the last 4 years, the growth of the fellowship has been remarkable. In our very first year, we had participants from only just 2 countries, mainly from Bangladesh and other South American country, Peru. And in the second year, this number expanded to 17 countries. And by the third year, we reached to 40 countries, spanning multiple continents, cultures, and healthcare systems. And this year, we have participants from 74 countries. 74. That's just not the growth, that's a signal. A signal that the demand for accessible, high-quality pain education is global. And this rapid expansion of the program did not go unnoticed. Our work was featured in the February issue of the American Society of Anesthesiology official newsletter called ASA Monitor. Now, this is what that growth looked like. When we first designed this fellowship program, our primary focus was on low and middle income countries, places where access to structured pain education is often limited. As you can see, this participation did not remain confined to those low and middle income regions of the world. We began to see growing engagement from high income and resource rich countries. As you see that many United European countries and United States also participated in this fellowship program. Why is that? One possibility is simplicity of our registration process. There is no registration fees, there is no course fees. Applicants only need to be a member of the professional organization, and they need to provide a letter of support from the president or secretary of their anesthesiology or pain society. This shows that when you remove barriers, make registration process simple and easy, participation becomes truly global. We have had 870 enrollments from 74 countries. And last year, we launched a Global Pain Scholar Program. Graduates who achieved more than 80% of the average score are invited to apply this scholarship program. And from them, based on their academic performance, overall merit, year after graduation, we select a few outstanding individuals and we offer them an opportunity to visit our department, shadow a clinical work, and attend the annual meeting of the American Society of Anesthesiologists, which is one of the largest platforms in our field. So far, this award has been given to 2 physicians, and I am especially proud to say that one of them is from Bangladesh. And his name is Saeed Ariful Islam. Please give him an applause. I'm not sure if he's here in the audience. So now let me share you some real world data from the first 2 years of the program. On the left, you see attendance patterns across 2 cohorts, 2023 and 24 and 2024-25. At the beginning, participation is high, but then gradually we see a decline over 6 months. And after that, it stabilizes. And we combine regional anesthesia and chronic pain into a single program. But some participants are primarily interested in the acute pain and regional anesthesia. So once those modules are completed, typically within the first 6 months, they feel their learning objective has been met and they step away. To moving forward, one potential evaluation of the program is to create 2 separate tracks, one for acute pain, regional anesthesia, another for chronic pain. We wanted to understand the impact of the fellowship. So at the end of the fellowship program, during the final session, we collected feedback from participants. What we found was very encouraging. As you can see in these graphs, participant satisfaction is remarkably high. 75% rated program as very satisfactory. 100% reported positive clinical impact. That program contributed on their clinical performance. And what we need now is the longitudinal data tracking objective performance before and after the course to truly understand a fellowship's impact on their clinical performance. Because in the end, the real success of the education is not the satisfaction score of the learner, but improvement in patient care. One important question we asked ourselves was, how do we ensure that the program is just not accessible but also rigorous? To address that, same quiz was administered in 2 separate sessions with US anesthesiology residents, creating a benchmark for the comparison. And what we found was striking. There is no statistically significant difference between the performance of the fellowship participants and the US resident. Think about that for a moment. Learners from the resource-limited settings performing at a level comparable to trainees in one of the most structured medical education systems in the world. This is truly remarkable. This tells us something important. When given the right content, right structure, right opportunity, talent is universal. But opportunities is not. So program like this can help bridge that gap. Now let's talk about certification. Once a participant meets the graduation criteria, they have a choice. They can simply walk away with the knowledge, skills, and experience they gain from this course. Or if they need formal recognition, they can opt to receive a certificate from the University of Minnesota, the one you see here, and this is entirely optional. But if you don't need certificate, you are not paying anything. Because we strive our best to ensure that financial limitations do not pose a barrier to get benefit from this fellowship. And here I will show you the graduation rate by country. Several countries achieved 100% graduation, like countries like Croatia, Indonesia, Italy, Kenya, South Korea, Pakistan, and Turkey. And some countries had no graduates in this cycle in 2026. But most of the countries had anywhere between 20 to 90% graduation from this program, and overall graduation rate is around 50%. And graduation criteria, I would like to mention again that more than 80% attendance of the session and more than 70% average cumulative quiz score. So, key takeaways of this talk is that the virtual fellowship is feasible and scalable. It has broad international reach, there's high participant satisfaction, and potential to reduce the global education gaps. As you look ahead, the journey of this program is far from over. Our first priority is to get longitudinal data tracking how this education translates to real-world clinical outcomes. Second, we aim to build expanded international partnership. We need to collaborate with institutions, societies, and educators across the world to find solutions that are locally relevant but globally connected. And third, perhaps most importantly, we need to increase the accessibility by offering the program in multiple languages and adapting it to different time zones, meeting learners where they are, but not where we are. Because if the goal is truly global education, inclusivity must be the design. And finally, I want to share you some good news. After multiple submissions, resubmissions, and honestly quite a few rejections, you finally found a home for our work. Our paper outlining this program is now under consideration for acceptance in Pain Reports, which is an IASP, International Association for the Study of Pain, official journal. And if you look at the author list, there are some familiar names. You know the Dr. Eleni Moka, who is the president of the European Society of Regional Anesthesia and Pain Medicine. You probably don't know who is Professor Akhtaruজ্জামান. And how many of you don't know him? Raise your hand. Okay. And you also know Steve Cohen, who is the president of American Society of Regional Anesthesia and Pain Medicine. And in my final words, I want to tell you something about wellness. In my opinion, it is very important. Because at the end of the day, what do we tell our patients? We tell them move, exercise, get off the couch, do physical therapies. Because much of the modern world, life has become too comfortable, which makes people sedentary, that leads to the many chronic pain situations. But if we don't do exercise by ourselves, how can we truly expect our patients will do that, will follow us? This is the reason organizations like American Society of Regional Anesthesia and Pain Medicine, ESRA, PM, and American Society of Pain and Neuroscience are doing 5K run and walk at almost every meeting. In Dhaka, we are organizing this event for the second time. This happened yesterday and it was a great success. And we are planning to take this forward to Bangkok in this October during the upcoming International Association for the Study of Pain meeting. So stay tuned for the information. With that, thank you very much for your kind attention. I apologize for going over a few minutes.